This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Sorry about that. You should be able to hear now.
So do you have any problems with your parking if you move that building? So the building is taking away 20 or 30 parking spots on the gravel.
Yeah.
And we were fairly full at the end of the year October was 70 degrees last year. We were fairly full parking wise by the end of the last couple of weekends. So adding grass parking adds more spaces, and if we're successful, it allows us to manage the overall number of people in the festival.
Well, you'll be able to have more parking, obviously, more people there. Mark had some notes for us on that. The thought is, in heavy rain, what will happen then? There's a rainstorm, things break.
We plant the best grass we can get, and we do have a lot. We still have 250 or so solid parking spots.
Okay.
It's like overflow parking, so hopefully it'll,
So when you do have parking on that grass area, do you know how you're going to organize it? Is somebody going to be there to
we
enforce?
used 3 parking attendants last year during the busiest times, and so we'll have people directing traffic like for that. I also hired a consultant that manages farm festivals, and he designed our flow and everything, and so we're hoping.
I guess I'm just worried, making sure that if someone was going to their car or coming from, and they needed an ambulance, are they going to be able to get there?
Oh, I wouldn't think that shouldn't be any issue. I mean, it's going to be right off the hard road, the parking. So, I mean, the additional grass parking is going to be right there. I mean, lots of farms do only grass parking. They'll even have, and it'll probably get hard as we get cars driving over it, right? Like it's
Until it rains.
Well, I mean, but over years, it'll pack
Come
down.
back.
It'll come
No
back.
different than Fireman's Festival.
Yeah.
You
You
can relate.
Like there.
Occasionally, yeah.
But if it rains, you don't have as much business.
Well, yeah,
That,
it's hopefully it evens out or whatever.
It's got enough of a slope that drains pretty well too.
It's pretty well sloped towards the south.
Yeah.
East, sorry, towards east. It's
So
sloped.
it's got a slope. is my
It's got a
point.
slope, yeah.
I don't care where it goes. It's got a slope, so it dries out quicker.
Yeah, I mean, until we really do it, don't know exactly, but with 20 acres, we'll be able to, if that area that we think will work the best doesn't work, we'll be able to kind of move it around. But it'll be the closest 5 acres to the hard road. So it should be the safest for ambulance, fire, stuff like that.
I only bring it up because this happened at Schuster's one year, and they made an absolute mess of 12 and 18.
Oh, yeah.
So you know that.
No, I mean, we'll still be over 50%. Like even at the busiest, we'd be over 50% hard parking
Okay,
if we build up,
be for you to manage.
right. I mean, and if we get, I don't know, if it gets that busy, we can talk about more paving or something, I guess. But
Or deny entry.
yeah, no, so I mean, one of the things that we do, and Schuster does as well, is timed entry. So we can control the number, like, so we do 11 to 1. There's only 200, or whatever, the number of tickets that we sell is limited from 11 to 1, and then we have 11 to, then 1 to 3, and then 3 to 5. So we can keep the crowd control spread out. We can sell out. We're able to manage that pretty well, I think.
Okay. And then your contract with the neighbor, it was just for 5 years.
Yeah, Bruce, it's the last year was just for 1 year. We extended it, added acres, and extended it for the next 5 years.
I guess this goes back to additional buildings taking up current parking spaces, do we really need Bruce's land? And then all of a sudden, the contract isn't renewed.
I mean, that could be an issue in the future, but this is, I mean, at least five, at least for five,
Right,
you know.
just my thought. And it stands out right now, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, we could hopefully extend it in the future. There's other places that we could expand our parking if we had to.
Do you have a signed lease? Because we did not get a copy of the new one. We got a copy of the old one that's
I
void.
will, yeah, I'll forward it tomorrow. I didn't know it was, I'm surprised it wasn't in there, but yes, we have a sign.
isn't this it right here?
Yeah, but we don't have a page that's signed
Oh, yes, I get it.
by Bruce. The next page is the old one that's void.
Okay, I'm sorry, I get it.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't say that was not signed.
So what changed between this cup you're asking for now and what hasn't been completed since the last cup?
We didn't build the building because the grading cost more than the building. So we moved it to that's the major change, and then adding the acreage. We didn't, there's a couple other buildings that were approved that we haven't built yet, and the lighting hasn't. We had approved a large lighting plan. We haven't needed it, and so we've been getting, we've just been using solar lights and a lot cheaper, a lot less bright, but doing what, you know, bright enough to do what needs to be done.
So is that your plan? You're gonna get rid of that lighting plan? Move forward?
I mean, that, since it's approved, I'd like to keep it until I have to, but, like the solar lights have proven to be, cheaper. They're fairly bright, like they do 50 to 75% of what the major lights do. And then they're, you know, they're temporary and they cost less. They cost, you know, they charge during the day and work at night. So
Sure.
they're working out really well. So I don't want to get rid of that plan yet, but it's proving to be, you know, overkill probably than what we need.
And the 15 additional acres, is that all just for parking?
No, so 5 acre, it'll be 5 acres of parking, and then the rest will be crop rotation
For crop.
over the 5 years.
So where will the parking take place? Over here?
You should have, if you keep going, you should have more. But what I have on the screen shows it.
And you just split the brown one.
It's directly south of the road.
Okay.
So the western portion of the lot, that was the first 5 acres that you leased out, correct?
Yes,
All right. So you're just showing us the additional 15 acres that you're gonna.
yeah, additional 15 is the 5 parking that are east, and then the 10 acres that are south.
And then the 2-acre petting zoo,
We didn't do zoo. We have a plan to bring in animals this year, but on a weekend basis instead of basis.
and will you have enough employees? Now, you mentioned the time you're releasing so many tickets per hours. So will you have enough employees if you're at full max capacity as far as parking?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we employed 40 Cottage Grove people, or on the whole year over, I think 80. But like during, at one time, like 40 employees, $20 an hour to 19-year-old kids, like it's a pretty good starting job, right? Should I say 14-year-old kids?
So did we get notified of all the improvements that you've done and stuff that you haven't done, other than what I've asked tonight?
I mean, I could probably break it down, but do you want to, would it be better if I
It'd be better if you listed them all.
listed them and sent you something that showed what
I mean,
has been done? I mean, since the first one, we tore down buildings, leveled the parking lot, did $200,000 worth of rain, water stuff.
you haven't done the lights, you didn't do the petting zoo.
We didn't do the lights, petting zoo. We didn't build the building last year that we're building this year.
But you moved one to.
The one we moved one, and then we didn't build the major building in the front. We didn't put in a septic system.
And neighbors didn't complain, everyone was happy, okay.
They're
Haven't heard any complaint.
employing a lot of them, so
In your original, was this the hoop building that you were going to put up
Yes.
that didn't?
yeah. So now that's
And
gonna
now, is that going over in here?
it's going just like 200 feet west onto the parking lot.
Okay. And you got a copy of the notes from our town planner
Yes,
to address those items?
I think we tried to address them all with him, and then he's on vacation or something, so we're kind of.
Any other questions?
I got at least one.
Okay,
When you mentioned that you were going to sell timed tickets, you know, your 1 to 3, 2 to 5, or whatever kind of thing. And the numbers that you did mention, if you're going to be, you know, regulating who's there and when, why do we need 900 and some odd parking stalls?
Well, I think 5 acres is about 500 extra parking spots.
I'm just going by what Mark said. He's 960 parking spaces.
That sounds high, but I mean, we're hoping to keep it increasing attendance. That sounds, I think it's an extra 500 parking. And we still can regulate the number of people, but I don't want to max out to where we were last year. You know, I want to increase overall the attendance.
I guess
1 acre to me is, from what I remember, is 110 parking spots. So I'm kind of,
yeah, sorry, I don't have that kind of intimate knowledge as far as how many square feet a car they usually allow for per car. I guess,
I mean, if you're asking what the limit, is there a limit?
well, I'm just saying if kind of leading into my next question is with, say you've got 900 people on site, you know, which if you do, God bless you. I mean, but you've got traffic in and out, sheer volume, again, like we were discussing last year, which prior to your initial CUP,
Yep.
which you guys seem to have regulated really well, but we're potentially talking 4 times that amount. And,
I mean,
you know, I just,
I hope we had 1,600 people in our max day last year on a Saturday in October, with no issues except peaking at,
Hey, I'm sorry, what was the last part?
we didn't have any traffic or, we haven't had traffic or parking issues yet. We had 1,600 on our max day last year on late Saturday, October. You know, I don't know what our max is, and, you know, I'm open to talking about a max maybe or something, but it's, you know, we're adding acreage to make sure it doesn't overwhelm the city, and
That was 1,600 over time, not at one time.
it wasn't at one time, right? But a lot of people stay for
Right.
4 or 5 hours or whatever, so probably the max was close to 900 or so at one time.
If you do have more parking, then you can actually stage it better. Instead of trying to pack them in a small spot, you can stage it easier in a bigger area. Which would be handy.
Or I worry that you pack more in.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the concerns, and I don't know how big we can get without creating a problem.
I'd rather not have to experience that.
I mean, I don't want to have a problem either. I don't want to, you know, it's in our best interest to,
Reviews are everything.
yeah, but have you guys on board with what we're doing, and, you know, have everybody happy with what we're doing, right? I'm not trying to bring a 20,000 person concert in or anything, right? So, I don't know there's nothing in that I know that to give me like a way to max or whatever, right? Like, I don't know.
That 1,600, that's 1,600 people were there?
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, you could very easily average 2 people per car, so you're down, down to 800.
Yeah, I mean, we get lots of families, but yeah.
So
That was 1,600 people over the day.
right.
You know, we had about 250 parking spots. So, you know, I think 900 was probably about right where we maxed out at last year. We had 500 spots that maybe maxes us at 1,900, doubling, or, you know, something like that. Yeah, I don't know where the breaking point is. I certainly personally don't want to hit the breaking point for us or for this town. I don't, what's the fire festivals like?
No, I guess that
Max number.
you'd know by that better, Mark. Festival?
I mean, I would guess it's higher than that, right?
It's kind of a different deal too,
It's
because
in the village.
like when the beer can closes, everybody's leaving at once. You don't
Right.
run into that.
Yeah, we definitely have
You're kind of staging them, so.
staging, but
And in the motion, I thought we would, depending on what, if we said 2-year cup, would you be okay with that?
Well, the current CUP is, I think there was a condition in there, there was supposed to be a condition in there that it would expire if the land was no longer rented, because it depends on that rental, but
Right.
then otherwise, normally a CUP is just until it ceases or is abandoned for up to 1 year. You don't want to have to keep coming back to this
Right.
all the time.
I mean, I'm happy to come back every year. You guys can
No,
tell me
but-
where, you know, where you get
Should-
uncomfortable
should we
and.
be
or whatever.
contingent on the 5-year lease for the,
I
Versus-
mean, it should, and I think, I haven't found it yet, but I thought there was supposed to be a condition in here that said that if there's no lease, there's no CUP.
yeah,
And as long as the lease continues, so if they have 5 years and they do another 5 years, and they don't change what they're doing, and there's not problems, then I don't think it would expire.
True.
But I mean, if he wants to put a limit and then come back every 2 years or something, I'm okay doing that, or what, is that what you're?
My feeling was that everything was supposed to be, I thought, completed within a year. Is that true?
I don't think there's, I don't know that was the
I don't
plan.
think so.
You don't think so?
No, because things happen
Right.
or things don't happen that you don't want to have to deal with.
And that's why I thought if it's 2 years, you can come back and say, I'm not doing this. This is my new plan. We say, fine. And since you've got a much more solid footprint and everything, then your cup is solid.
I mean, I'm not,
That was the only thought I had on it. But if the panel's fine with doing that, that's fine.
I'm content to come back every year or two if
I
that
mean, the
makes you
county,
more comfortable.
we do have other CUPs in the town where there's a condition that the town reviews it every 5 years. So it doesn't actually expire, but then we're supposed to remember to review it every 5 years, which we usually do. And so, but I don't know if the county is gonna wanna just have one that expires in 2 years and you gotta start all over again. They're usually gonna say
I
it's
mean, I think
effective until,
if we review it every 2 years, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it would be a review, it wouldn't be just expiration.
okay.
That's what I was thinking.
And I would tend to agree of some sort of review, just by virtue of the fact that we have had what I would consider substantial modifications compared to last year. And I would, obviously we have the right to give Mr. W, hey, we want to see you. Come on in. We need to talk, kind of thing. We have that ability too, but, and I'm not that I'm expecting to or anything else like that, but maybe, he's not too far off with doing maybe 2 years and get a couple seasons under the current, or the, not the current, but the proposed changes and just see how it's working out. I hope for his sake it does.
I'm not uncomfortable coming back every 2 years. Like, I think that's fine. And I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to create issues. I'm trying to, I'm willing to.
Just started to even want to get ready until, that's like, let it go,
Right. I'm willing to be adjust to whatever the town wants, so.
With regards to the lighting, you said your solar stuff, maybe 50, maybe 75% of what permanent lighting would be. Would you be opposed if we made a suggestion that you release a couple generators, the
Like they call light towers.
Oh,
light towers? Thank you.
We do have some. I have 2. Is it to, like?
Just
Emergency.
for illumination, I would rather, to an extent, I would rather have folks coming back to a brightly lit area versus a dimly lit. And
I'll put 2,
but
I could put 2 on the exit.
You want them dark sky compliant. Yeah, they're certainly not dark sky.
well, is a generator, these aren't permanent lighting fixtures, and I don't know that temporary lighting fixtures would be necessarily a requirement to be dark sky compliant. I mean, how many construction zones
if
have you
you're-
seen where they're dark sky?
But if you're a neighbor, would you want it to be?
It's a different animal.
It depends upon how they place them, I guess, and what style. There's many different
Are
kinds
you
out there.
talking about in the parking area?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking back there. And maybe more toward the rear of the parking area, I'm just throwing stuff out,
From a safety point of view, they certainly make a lot more sense, and they're only on while he's open. As soon as he's shut down, they're off. They don't have to stay on. Or at least have them for emergency use. Play it by ear.
Yeah.
But you have 2 of them there
I
already.
have 2. I'll use them. I'll put them on the exit. And I think that's what you're concerned about, right? Like, or the parking lot for.
Yeah, just to give your visitors a sense of security,
Sure.
If he already has 2, I think he's got it under control. It's better than not having him at all.
Well, true, and plus the fact, you said you had your solar fixtures also, right? Or would you?
We have solar throughout the whole festival.
Right, but I'm just saying, it just,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah, that would not, these would not replace that.
No,
They would be in addition to.
no, they're, like you said, movable ones that we can put on the exit in case it needs extra lighting and
Yeah,
stuff like
or,
that.
you
Or-
could probably figure that out as you
Yeah.
get going and figure out where where you need them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in my interest to do what you're saying. Like, we want it to be safe. We want the exit to be safe. That's usually where the issues are, right? Like, it's 8 at night and it gets dark in October, or 7 at night, and it gets dark in October, and it gets dark really fast, and making sure people can get out safely. So, could be by the road, but probably just the path of the exit is the most concerning.
Are you going to have some sort of fencing around that parking area so that they don't,
Go other places.
yeah, go into Bruce's other property?
I think last year, so he had corn in that, like there'll be corn in that other tenant at the end of the parking lot. So he was not uncomfortable with people going, like that he thought people might go in, but we can definitely put temporary
Orange fencing or
orange fencing
something?
or something along the parking lot so that they don't. But we have a corn maze, so if they really want to go to a regular cornfield, I guess that.
Don't expect us to find you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the planning commission? Anyone online?
I don't think they're probably for that.
Or in the audience for questions?
I just want to support Francis, the neighbor, neighbor Ed, and we're doing a fine job over there. We really appreciate it.
He lives closest.
Good to know.
You'd be the one that's gonna see those lights if they're too bright.
They're not, that's good,
Thank you, sir.
sure.
So I would assume we would want a motion on the conditional use permit, but no action on the design review until we get the actual building layout, placement, and building design as Mark indicated.
No, you're gonna need to do the standards for the conditional use permit too.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Trying to verify the landscaping.
in the landscaping, yeah. So there are 8 standards for a conditional use permit. Did everybody read them and read his
Yes.
answers to them, so I don't have to read them out loud again?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe they're satisfied.
So if there is a motion made, please include that they were met and satisfied. So the question is there a motion?
I'll move the approval of the CUP, amended CUP. And with the stipulation that we review it, not update it, not reapprove it, just review it every 2 years. And the 8 conditions were met. Design reviews later, right,
For the building.
for the building.
And landscape.
And
And
design
landscaping
reviews
with the
later.
building.
Yep. What did I miss?
Motion by Mule,
I'll
is it
second.
second by Troy to approve the,
Can I just, I don't, is you sure that Mark is not saying it's okay? I wasn't expecting that to get tabled on this one.
on the conditional use.
The design review.
We're not acting on design review.
Okay, but I thought they were, somebody said table that, okay.
His motion was just to approve the conditional use permit, that the 8 standards were met, and that he comes back in 2 years just for a review.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
We'll have to do the design review on the landscaping and the building placement later when you have something for us.
Okay.
It's not for the hoop structure, this is for the actual building, right? Or is it?
No, it's
It's
the
a
structure that's being moved.
semi-temporary building, yeah.
But isn't it the
I
same?
mean, she thinks that we answered all the questions. is what
Yeah,
she's saying.
you do your
Yeah,
motion. and then
so
we can-
wait. You pretty much know what the building is gonna be.
Yes,
It's the same building.
it's the same building that was approved.
Yeah, so, and we're just moving it.
Moving it closer to Vilas.
Correct.
So Mark was asking, given its location much closer to Vilas Road and existing residents, it should have a much more finished design than the Hoop Building per section 12.08 and 4 parent B of the design review.
I think he's misunderstanding. It's only
Yeah.
moving a couple hundred feet. Like, it's not moving towards Vilas.
Are you talking about the actual building he wants to build later on, or the hoop structure? It sounds like you're talking about the actual building. In my mind.
He says, given its location distant from public roads and residents, it is my opinion that the proposed hoop building, even with its relocation from 2024 plans, meets associated town design review ordinance requirements. For the proposed approved farm store building much closer to Vilas Road, the applicant should supply proposed exterior building elevations before that building is anticipated to be built. But that's not what he's asking for tonight, right?
No,
No.
You're just moving the hoop structure, which is fine. Because county wants to approve too, because they want it on the gravel.
Which will give you, like, coverage accurate anytime within 2 years for that building.
Right, if we built that, we obviously would have to come back for that building.
The design review for that building. But as far as design review tonight is supposed to be about the hoops,
Hoop building.
moving the hoop
Yeah.
building.
So
And the parking. And the
Yeah.
parking.
the design review for the hoop structure is fine with me. What can you do? You can't put a brick wall on it. It's a hoop structure. So,
We didn't have a problem with it from the beginning, did we?
No, it was
No.
approved.
It was approved. And
He
he's
just
just gonna
wants to
move,
move it.
and everyone okay with the location moving? I'm
Yeah.
fine with it.
moving to the west.
Moving to the west. The hoop structure.
what I thought, west.
Well, the motion second is for the conditional use.
Correct.
Did you want to add anything about the temporary lighting or fencing around the parking area?
No.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Who seconded that? Sorry.
Troy.
Troy, Dave made it, Troy was the second.
Right.
Okay. We're not doing design review.
No, we need to do a design review. Because it's design review for moving the hoop building and the parking. And you're okay with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you need to have a motion on that too.
Need someone to make that motion.
So we looked at that. We're all okay with the parking, the 5. And what Mark's thing was is to have that like somewhat sectioned off, whether it's a rope or something, so that people just didn't go out into different areas.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah. The hoop building's going from there to there.
Yeah, that's fine. Allow them to get into there.
Yeah. So is there a motion on design review for the hoop building being moved a little bit further to the west?
I was fine with that. The original motion, because it was only for the hoop structure.
You combined two.
Yeah.
Did the cup and the hoop structure.
Yeah, but if you want to do it separately, that's fine.
I thought it was, your motion was
Yeah.
just the conditional use.
Fine.
To make a motion for the design review.
Design review approval, motion
Motion by
for the
Mule
movement of the building, of
And
the hoop structure
And the parking.
and the parking.
and the park.
and the parking, yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tom Bannigan. to approve the design review of the movement of the hoop building to the west and for the parking. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Conditional use will be to the town board on this April 7th.
Oh, okay.
Design review doesn't go to them, just.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Great.
Okay,
See you guys soon. Thank you.
next item is Wilmer A. Larson, applicant and landowner, parcel 0711-154-8001-0, near 2181 Uphoff Road, seeking a rezone of 2.22 acres from FP 35 to RR2 to create a new residential lot, and 22.47 acres from FP 35 to FP 1 for the residential ag lot. Because it's under 35.
Can you bring that up on access, that lot?
Yep.
We want to create a building site for my youngest daughter and her husband, Ron and Kathy Schwer. And we wanted to stick with that 2-acre recommendation. However, there is a little, I'm gonna go up real quick to it. We have a bunch of trees planted here, and some of these are gonna be removed. This is what we wanted without this. But the county doesn't want to see this and nobody else wants to see it, where you got 2/10 of an acre stuck up here that's separated from everything else. That's why it's reached 2.22 acres. Take into consideration this.
Take up what the trees.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do. Any questions?
I assume you had the development right.
What's that?
You had the development right.
Yes, yes.
Is that your last
Najib
one?
Allen, he reviewed that, yeah. We do have one development right there.
Is that it then that you have left? Or
Yes.
there- That's your last one?
Yes.
Okay.
Bill, so
Yes.
a couple of questions. One, on the application, they got what's marked in red here is going to FP1. That's lot, or that was supposed to be B?
No, the lot is
Yes,
A
Yep,
and B is the rest of the land.
less of the
This
farmland.
is a
Correct.
short 40 that on the north side of this, it's non-farmable. It's just,
and that's
And-
fine.
yeah.
But when you look at it on access stain, it's that whole 40. And on this, it was saying that the remainder was 22 acres. And it should be different from what I'm gathering.
What, oh, you wanna see?
No,
acres?
because you've got,
It's 36.1 acres.
Where are you, 22? Hold on.
this is a
Yep.
40-acre parcel.
Yes,
My son Ken has his half-acre parcel here. And Fran Jenkins has this 2-acre parcel here. And this lot was sold off earlier. And, if you add the road, these lots and everything, and this stuff here is just non-farmable.
Access Dane says that the parent
But
parcel is
this,
36.
whatever is left over here is the, that parcel B.
yep, containing, which is.
And that would be the 22 something acres. I can't,
22 point.
Yeah.
469, which is the remaining farmable acres, right?
Yeah.
Which is.
Well, some of that isn't farmable, but it's the remaining acreage.
Right, that's gonna go to FP1, right?
Mhm.
What happens to the stuff on the other side of the road?
On the north side,
On the north
Nothing.
side?
what's it?
It's gotta go to FP1.
It's swamp.
That's,
Probably maybe can stay because is it attached to other land he owns
well, he does own stuff there, but
around it?
yeah, it would be, I guess what I'm getting at is we're creating a parcel A, a parcel B, and now a parcel C.
No, we're not creating a parcel C.
No, you're right. And that's why you could, if you just include the backside of that last 40 in FP1, you're fine. Then it's gonna be part of parcel B. Is everyone following me or am I wrong?
It's kind of like what.
I know, sorry, but,
You're worried about this piece here.
Yeah.
On the north side.
On the north side of the highway.
on the north side, that just remains as it is. It's just a non-farmable.
It'll probably create another tax parcel.
Right.
But as far as zoning, because it's probably attached to other FP 35 that he has, probably can stay FP 35.
Okay.
It's not getting rezoned,
No,
No,
it's not
it's the
included.
key.
But part of the county, it's not getting rezoned.
but wouldn't it be part of the deed restriction? It's not.
No.
Yeah, I suppose, because it's part of what's required to have the building. Well, no, is the building right coming from that parcel though?
I don't know.
I own this land right here. And this land was returned to a wetland status a number of years ago. So there's a 40-acre parcel here and another 20-acre parcel here. That it all's sort of the same thing. It just kind of nice hunting land, and that's about all it's good for.
I can definitely ask the county about that.
I understand about staying, because it's contiguous, touching the other ag exclusive, I call it ag exclusive still.
Yeah.
One, I can see where that part would stay, ag exclusive.
Yeah.
But if it's gotta be tied in with a RDU, that's what I was wondering.
So-
Now, you think that what
Doesn't have
has to
any
be
more
tied
splits
in?
Anyway.
That northern
Right.
part of the parcel.
His whole
Whatever.
farm is, they'll probably, what they'll do, like one of the things that they ask on the action report for these is, the balance of the farm is all deed restricted, so that takes care of that. So,
Yeah.
because it might not be this parcel might already be restricted,
It
I'm not
is.
sure.
It is, if you go to access thing, it says
Okay.
this land is deed
Oh, yeah,
restricted
done
to
it.
development.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
so, and then the rest of the land probably stays meets and bounds. And these two
Yeah.
lots would be a CSM.
I'm clear.
So that was my question as when I talked to McGee, like, what's deed restricted? How does this happen that you add a lot? And
Yeah.
he had a meeting, so I never got my answer.
Oh, well, you can still transfer into it as long as you can have an RDU from somewhere else.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Lot configuration. You've got the long road running in the back.
Mhm.
What happens to the land around the lot? I mean, as far as accessing it.
What do you mean?
Well, you go out to that
This,
property.
this land here, the access to this land is right here.
And then,
And that takes care of the tillable land around here.
Yeah.
and then what about the remaining of the?
And there's only gonna be about an acre and a half of land here. And, that'll be probably not, I might put some corn in there, I might not do anything with it because, we have up-offs come in with their 40-foot head on a combine. And, it isn't even worth the effort for a little like that.
Yeah, so, but even if you were to, for the remainder of that land that's there, it's your land.
Yep.
How are you gonna access it?
Which, well, I can access it right down here.
Okay, so you can access it from.
That's what I've already been doing. What we originally wanted to do was access this lot from here. And there wasn't enough frontage over here to permit that. So that's why we had to use this area here.
Into 66 feet.
Yeah,
Well, it was a field road too.
because if we had 66 feet here, Ken wouldn't even have room to park his car out in front of his garage.
It'd be hell to pay.
So,
That's why we had to do the access from this point here.
Yeah.
so you,
But as far as my accessing this land here.
Yeah.
This is a, you know, this is a field here. And we've always been coming in through here anyway.
so,
So that's not a problem. Nothing is gonna be landlocked.
well, it kind of is, because you own that chunk, right? That's in your trust? Correct? That,
I own this land.
yes, and Ken
And
owns the other.
what I've done is I've traded this short 40. This was owned by my son Ken. And I've traded, this 40 for this 40. So now
Oh,
Ken actually owns this land and I own this land.
correct. And that's my point, is that in order to access your land, outside of family now, in order to access that land, you're gonna have to use, it would be your parcel B, you're gonna have to either use,
To access land, this part here,
you know,
I really don't give a hoot. I can plant trees in it for all of me.
yeah,
Because it's gonna be about an acre and a half. There's actually a water run line coming down through here.
Here.
And,
Corner of
it's,
Yeah.
you know, with the size of
Cut off
the
from this.
equipment that people have today, farming an
Yeah,
acre and a half or so
access
isn't
there.
worth the effort. You just put trees in.
and that's fine. But in the event that the land gets sold or something happens and it's outside of family, it's gonna be really hard to access that remaining land there because you're gonna put a driveway there and that's gonna.
They can access it right straight through here.
Not if you.
In fact, sometimes we've already been doing that. You know, so you could access it right through here.
Unless Kenny sells that land. That's the point. Kenny sells that land, that parcel's not accessible without an easement. That's the only,
You can access
What
from
do
the
you,
east side of the
what
house.
do you suggest that I do with this then?
I don't know,
Besides plant trees in it, which we plan on doing.
You can-
We're gonna remove some of these trees and plant them over here anyway. So that solves that problem.
I don't
Technically, you can
understand.
access
Are you
all
talking
that
about
from
this
the
little
east
piece?
no,
From the east of here. You can walk to the other side, you don't need to drive to the other.
you won't be able to access. Because you'll be able to, you'll have to. That's what, I was wondering if you can do something different. It's,
Is it a waterway between the fields or something?
No, it's just wet ground.
We have access here,
From one field
which is
to
all
the
the
other.
county cares about.
I could take a tractor right down next to where that parcel lot is with a driveway.
So you can talk, you can hear, right?
Whether they choose to have.
drive in here, this is flat here.
This is wet.
What trees?
You get this field right here, farming this land over here.
You don't.
Donate to the- They have your,
distinction.
Yeah, I would think you could.
There are-
Could, and put
there
a
are-
culvert in there if you really want.
Yeah, but there are trees and it's swampy.
But to his point, it's.
Yeah.
Donated.
It's doable the way you can.
Okay.
If you want, I can grant him access on him.
Any other questions from the planning commission?
Never.
Any question?
The driveway here for this house will be back here. This has to be built to town standards.
Town road standards, because it'll be
Yeah.
over 200 feet.
I worked with Dan on that
Okay, just so you
and,
know.
some of those trees would have to be removed anyway because of
Site.
visibility. And a lot of those are gonna be removed.
And you
They don't
don't,
want you surprised later that the road's gotta be so wide and whatnot.
Right.
and you don't have any interest in moving the house lot up to shorten that road for yourselves.
I'm sorry, Troy?
You don't have any interest in moving the house lot up
No,
any further
no.
and then giving, in the event that.
This is, if you walk out here, this is the best spot to put a house. It's a little higher and it's convenient.
I was out there, I viewed it.
Yep,
And the only thing is that you got Kenny in the background that's got a mound system. He has no other,
everybody has a mound system these days.
he should have a secondary location.
Yep.
He doesn't have to.
You're not required to by septic rules. You can tear out a mound and put it right back where it was.
Are you sure?
Mine holds told me that when I perked it. I didn't know that. He told me, I said, what about a secondary drain field? And he said, no, you don't need that. So,
Well, as long as you can do that, that's fine.
so they rebuild them.
That's something I wasn't aware of either,
Akin to check.
but it makes sense.
Any other questions?
No.
Any comments from the audience, either online or here? And you understand the driveway has to be built to town road standards, and we've just recently redid those, didn't we?
Well, we mainly just clarified it. But
Yeah.
There's a diagram now that will show you exactly how the road has to be built instead of trying
Right.
to figure out what all the standards are
Understand that.
telling you. Yeah.
Okay, this-
And it's not a connector, so he won't need that for.
No, it's just a driveway, but you
Just-
have to
just
be
your
built to
driveway.
the town road standards as far as space and width.
Yep. Yeah. So then, are we ready for a motion?
Do we need a declaration on how that other corner parcel is being?
It's gonna stay.
Yeah.
No,
That doesn't.
it's not part of the action plan.
I'll just make sure, I'll just talk to the county to make sure that the way we're understanding it is, and that there isn't any need to do anything with it. But
As long as he owns the other land, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
yeah,
More than 35.
Anyone willing?
As a matter of expediency, move to approve with, I don't know, we have to say, with county's gonna.
The R2 and the FP1?
Yes, yes.
Is your motion to approve?
Yeah, and the county's gonna make sure he has a development, right, so I'm not too worried about that.
it's already,
It's already
does the density studies here.
Second, he's done.
Motion by Mule, second by Anders to approve the rezone of 2.22 acres, with the reason being the length of the driveway
And,
and the location with the trees.
yes,
On Up-Off Road, and the 22.469 acres from FP 35 to FP 1. Correct?
Being
Any
restricted for no further development.
And in our knowledge, it's used
This
as
is
his
the
last development,
The
right?
last development, right, so the entire farm will be restricted now.
Yeah. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. April 7th, the town board.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Next item. Conceptual review for 2 additional buildings on parcel 0711-284-9720-3 at 3447 North Star Road. Steve Banovitz, North Star Road investment applicant and landowner.
On the seventh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
So I'm interested in adding 2 more buildings, kind of finishing off that parcel to its, I guess you would say its development then. I'd like the 2 to match as much as possible the existing building that's there within reason and for how it's going to be used. One building, the one closer to the town road would be proposed for this year, looking at an August to October build out date. And then we'd look at adding another one, in 2026. But I thought it made more sense to look at both of them now rather than one at a time and one at a time.
Okay. What's, your build or your business growing pretty good?
Yeah, yes and no. I decided to retire January 1st. So I have a company called Stantec that's signing a lease for the existing building and a portion of this new building. My company that has used that space I downsized them and I'm helping them start kind of more from scratch. And they're gonna have a space and then I'm gonna have a space in that new building.
The one in 25.
Yes. The one in 2026, I'm expecting my old business to grow into that one, as well as Stantec may need more space. So I'm kind of leaving these real flexible. I'm not going to put all the interior walls in until we see how and what people want for space and the corresponding bathrooms that will go with those.
And your septic is big enough to handle the additional?
I'll be adding 2 more septics. One will be to the east of the first building and the other will be to the north of the second building. That's probably not, maybe I didn't label that.
It's on there. I saw it.
Okay.
And did you have the land, I guess, tested and studied to have septics?
I don't believe that's going to be a problem. I guess if it did, then these would be more cold storage type spaces. I think that there's only probably going to be 3, maybe 4 occupants out here, and we'll probably at least get 2 bathroom systems for that. I don't expect a problem because everything I've dug in this whole region is just sand and gravel, and cobble. So there's no standing water anywhere on this site. It drains, even in the hardest rains, there's never a puddle. Even if you drive on it and compact it, there's never a puddle.
We seem to have difference of opinion, what works and what doesn't work. When it comes to septic will work there, no, it won't work there. And then they say, well, it'll work over here, no, it won't work over there. I'm speaking specifically to the neighbor that was trying to put some septic systems in. So.
Neighbor.
Yeah, it would be over Mr. Swalheim's.
To the east.
To the east.
Yeah, different soil.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what Cat Electric has for his soils.
Hillside he's got there, it's all sand and gravel that's been cut away, so.
Yeah.
I know when you go west, you can hit bedrock, so I suppose that would be a problem. There's a bedrock knob that poked into this parcel.
Want to see some tests done?
Okay. I can have them go out and do those long before the building's built and long before the next meeting we have.
Do you know what your distance is gonna be between the 2 buildings? You have this one, this.
I staked them out. I have it planned for 50 feet, but it came out to be 57. So until I get it actually perfectly surveyed, it's gonna be somewhere between 50 and 57 feet.
And your stormwater is gonna have to be reassessed with all this
Yeah.
building and stuff,
Yeah,
so.
Burst Engineering is looking and studying that right now. My guess is it's gonna be 4 times the size of what it currently is, but currently that's the bottom of it is the size of this little alcove in front of us here. So it won't, to be 4 or 5 times bigger than that would only stretch out here. And we have plenty of space for it.
So you're gonna put in the buildings and you're gonna lease them out.
Right.
Okay. And what are the businesses gonna be that are going in there?
Stantec is an environmental consulting firm like my business was.
Okay.
So they'll have similar kinds of equipment, pickup trucks, trailers, UTV, ATVs, with spray rigs, some tractors and tillage type equipment.
Will they be doing their own maintenance there?
They'll probably do some tractor maintenance like we've done. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna have a building that's gonna keep long enough to get all the landscape and things done out there that I'm working on, and just for boats and other things that I own. Then Field and Stream Restorations, the current tenant, which was my business, is gonna be the same things we've continued to do. So they'll have pickup trucks, trailers, ATVs, UTVs, tractors. If we have space and a fourth company were to come along, it could be anything from an electrician to a plumber to someone with a big camper or high-end boats or something that might want some storage. That's what I'm anticipating, and those are the type of people that have come to me looking for space. People drop by every month asking. They want the next lot, and I don't own that one, so I can't sell it to you.
So a question out of the blue, why build 2 additional buildings and not build on and just have them a larger building separated?
So one challenge is the stormwater has to be where it's at. That's the low point in the whole lot. So that dictates that whole fifth of the whole property. Then the next is we really want an in and an out. We've already got an easement with Redline Water Sports to use that driveway. So it makes a lot of sense, especially for bigger equipment, to have 2 ways in and 2 ways out. So that kind of dictates that we've got to have a driveway there somewhere in that whole southern property line. And this is what we came up with. If somebody had a better idea, I could adjust things. That's not a problem. Otherwise, we'd have to run the driveway way to the west and out and make one big building. We could. Or a building and then add on to a building. I'm trying to do this in logical financial steps.
And you have an easement
On
to use that
driveway.
driveway from
And I have
lot 3?
For lot, yeah, so I'm lot 1, lots 2 and 3 both have easements. So when I broke it into 3, I made sure that every lot had an easement onto that driveway.
Do you know if there's any plans to pave that? The portion that you would be using to North Star?
That's not out of the question. It could be. I hadn't actually thought of that. I'd work with Paul on that.
And where you're showing, I guess possibly the dumpsters,
Yep.
is that going to be screened?
I could build a screen around it. Yeah. It's not.
What's in the town ordinance, kind of screen?
I think so.
Did you look at the town ordinance, development ordinances?
Yeah, I don't know that I looked at the dumpster regulations.
But did you look at all the
I've read them a number of times, but I would have to go back for things that specific, yeah. But screening it would be an easy thing to do. If that's an ordinance, I could easily build a cedar wood fence.
Honestly, I'm kind of hung up, this may seem like a real foolish thing, just with you're gonna be able to rent these buildings out.
Correct.
You won't have any you have a slight control of what businesses are gonna go in there.
You guys kind of, through my general commercial do, right?
Not entirely.
I can't have a hospital there.
No.
So-
But realistically, you could have pretty much any business that was doing some form of.
I think it's
work.
contractor, it's limited to like contractor type business.
Yeah, I gave you a copy of his C1 zoning because at the time that he got zoned commercial, it was C1, that's on your table.
Yeah.
And that limited all the things that, we didn't
You
get
could do.
all of the C1, we got some of them, so. Many of them that are on there that are still in general commercial, because for example, C1 had outdoor storage, but general commercial doesn't, and he got converted to general commercial. I don't think he has room for outdoor storage anyway, so I don't think he's worried about it.
Not in this plan. The whole idea is to build more buildings so that everything is indoors. But I got conflicted with Dane County because they did a stop-by check on me, took pictures, and then she came in and said, well, as long as the trailers and things you're using for the business are for the business, then you're fine. And then, so I don't know. But in terms of,
That's where I'm, we don't have any control.
Yeah.
Put in drain fields, you can't put any businesses in there that are gonna use any form of maintenance, oil, gases or anything like that.
I'll have no floor drains, so they'd have to flush everything down the toilet.
Exactly. Exactly.
That would be a violation of a lease I would have, but yeah. That certainly would put that in my lease, because I don't want the damage to have to dig it all up when they wreck it by putting 200 gallons of oil down the toilet. But I suppose that's happened.
Take it to O'Reilly.
Right.
So according to the C1 zoning that was approved, the land uses occurring on the property shall be limited to agricultural uses, no livestock, contractor or landscaper operations, indoor storage, office, outdoor storage associated with a business, personal and professional services. That's all he can have there.
I wouldn't allow car mechanic repair because I'm not gonna allow lifts in my concrete, because I'm not gonna pour concrete that's 12 inches thick that would hold.
That's not vehicle repair, isn't
Yeah.
one of them anyway, so.
So,
Well, when you mentioned some of I asked if companies that have all the equipment are gonna do their own maintenance, that's oils and so on.
but farms can do that. I mean, a lot of,
Yeah, that's different. And it's not to say that they collect their stuff, obviously, if they were going outside the bounds and flushing their stuff down the toilet, they're gonna get in trouble for it.
yeah,
But they own it, not rent it.
right. We have a big 50-gallon barrel that we have from the landfill recycling center that they allow us to have. And then we fill that and then we bring it to them, they unload it, we pay them. That's how we get rid of the oil.
Clean sweep.
Clean.
Yeah, through clean sweep. Yeah. It's far easier than dumping it down the toilet.
So there was a bunch of information as far as clarification of the building elevations.
And that's gonna get fleshed out through,
Cleary.
more so through the engineer that's gonna be doing the whole site design with the stormwater. We gotta make sure all the buildings are gonna be at the same elevation as the current one. And then everything will move to the pond.
So the building that's in the southeast corner, how do you get that to the pond? You have a drain underneath the blacktop?
It does show a drain.
Yeah, so the front will surface flow across the parking lot.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that earlier. Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll pipe it.
Yep. Yep, yep, okay. Got it.
Thank you. Sorry.
And you'll add one new well
I'm gonna use one new well for both the two new buildings.
of the two,
Yeah.
25 and 26.
Pulling it from the old building would be, it just doesn't make sense. It's
It's on the wrong side.
right, it's way too far away. In that building, we put a high capacity well in to fill tanks of water for irrigating and things off site. So if we need a lot of water, that building has it. Got a $50,000 well.
So this new one wouldn't have to be high capacity.
No,
That's what you're saying.
it's gonna run some shop sinks and toilets. I would hope that the people that work here could use the high capacity if they need it. Sure.
So this is just a conceptual review?
Yeah.
Mark recommended that, yeah, that you not approve the design yet,
Right.
because it seems like the engineering isn't done at all yet.
And did he get Mark's comments?
He did.
Yeah, and I tried to address as many of those as I reasonably could. in the packet of information that you have.
I'd like to add that when you come back, you have locations for the drain fields, or if you can even have drain fields.
For the, the
For
septic.
acceptance.
Oh, I'll get those, I'll put that on my list to do I'll get those right away, and I'll have all the results from them before we meet again.
There's that unnamed drive, is that a two-way?
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be.
It's a big
Private
driveway.
drive.
Yeah, it's almost a road track.
Right. I think there was something marked as far as it lines it had a one way. Driveway.
Are you okay with the bare root 3 foot tall trees?
That's
Huh?
certainly a lot better than what we have here.
And his species that he was going to use, hemlock, riverbolt, birch, sycamore, and white pine.
I don't know if I'm familiar with the sycamore, what are we?
The sycamore and the river birch have done really well out there. The biggest trees I have that were started from like 2 foot twigs are the two most successful were the river birch and the sycamore. Yeah, the hemlock and the white pine, I'm hoping they will do better than all the spruce that I've tried. The spruce have been there for years and they're just struggling. So I'm gonna try some other kind of evergreens there.
I've never had any luck with hemlock. Very hard.
They are,
Get
but I
going.
love them. That's I have a soft spot for them.
It may sound trivial at this point. While I applaud you for complying with what we asked for your plantings originally, blame myself, because I'm probably was the one who made the suggestion. I was expecting something bigger than this, or this, and I mean, all of us here are gonna be dead or close to it by the time
They're huge.
that they're there,
Yeah.
they're doing the job that they were put there to do.
Yep.
I think, I guess I would want to sleep on it between now and the next time you come in, but would be looking at something that within the next year or two could provide some
Coverage.
screening, I mean, yeah.
And I can pull some of them out that are there and move them farther back and put some bigger ones in up front.
I would like to see something.
You mentioned that in another meeting about having something with a base of a substantial size or a height of a substantial size.
Yeah, height.
Of the, especially if it's a
6
conifer
or
tree or
8.
something like that.
I think
Sure.
you're saying.
I can tell you as a professional landscaper, the smaller you start, the more success you have. And sometimes you'll actually outgrow the larger one. There's a belief that for every inch in diameter that you put a tree in, it takes at least a year for that inch to do anything. So if you put in a 2-inch diameter tree, it'll sit for 2 years and do absolutely nothing. Sometimes you can put a 6-foot twig in, like some of the sycamores and things I've done, or I mean, those were only 18 inches and they're already 15 feet tall. So, it's a lot of it's soil dependent too. I mean, I couldn't have guessed when I started there, even with all my experience, like what species would take off and do great and which ones would struggle. But I found 2 that did well.
I know this year we didn't have much, but if you have snow, I'm assuming you're pushing it towards the pond.
It probably put most of that toward the pond. Yeah, I mean, there's little else place for it other than the front yards.
And the one you have septic at.
Right, which isn't an ideal place, but it'll only be a small strip. Like right now, we put just a little bit up on the edge of that septic. But we do have areas we can push. Most of it gets pushed to the pond right now. I'm nowhere near the pond. I mean, the pond's a long way from where the pile is, but it's on that margin of the gravel now.
Do you currently use salt or brine or
No.
anything? And you would be the one that would be responsible for maintenance of that?
Right, in the leases I've done, I'm still responsible for at least the next 5 years. After that, I'll have to reevaluate my leases and see where I'm at and where I'm living and what makes sense.
Questions? Anything else? Concept okay with?
Concept's okay, he needs to come back with perk tests and get started on some engineering.
And, your
And Mark's list of his questions.
Right.
lights on your building currently, you got 4 of them, face towards the south. In your building, right?
I don't hear well, something lights?
Your building lights?
Yes, exterior lights.
The wall packs, basically?
Yep.
Those supposed to be dark sky compliant.
I can check and see.
Yeah.
My challenge
They're
is,
supposed to
They're
be.
supposed to be dark. Because every night when it's dark, and I come back Tuesdays and Thursdays from Madison, that thing's lit up like a candle. It's bright.
and so I was told I needed a certain, by Dane County standards, I need a certain candle power on the parking lot. So my other option then is to try and run lights out to the parking lot somehow and shine from there.
So they're supposed to be, so there's a problem.
Right, so how do you light a parking lot and not,
You have to utilize, you're supposed to utilize this dark sky compliant light. That's, am I right in that or am I
Yep.
wrong? I'm right.
Yes.
Not because you need something, this is gonna authorize you to use this light, particular light to achieve the goal. I could understand those lights being on your building fully if you are working at a job location and you come home and pull in there at 6 o'clock at night in December, you're not gonna have any light, you would want some light in the front of the building, but they would be manually operated on, off, only when needed.
so I can change the program so that they go off at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night and don't come back on till, I just don't know how Dane County's ordinance of how do you make sure the parking lot's lit all the time
Dark
versus,
sky compliant lighting.
okay.
Utilize it.
So I'll try and figure out how you light a parking lot with dark sky compliant
You probably
lighting.
have to use poles.
Yeah, and maybe,
Probably.
so instead of the light going this way, we're trying to go more that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want it to escape up into the atmosphere. Anything else? I guess we're okay.
All right,
With
so I'll come back with
conceptual-
3 points, at least 3 points addressed.
Mark's
And go
list,
through Mark's stuff and make sure.
and elevations,
Which is on Mark's thing.
yeah.
If we're gonna address Mark's concerns, he wanted to look at the south side of the first building. Because
Facing
when
that
you say
driveway.
what faces or what can you see from North Star Road, you can see 3 faces of every building out there, correct? Because as you approach the building, you're gonna see it, whatever, from one side, then you're gonna drive by and see another, and then you're gonna go beyond it, turn around, come back, and you see the third side. So for me to get this south side of this building 35% enhanced is a challenge on my part, because it's gonna add a lot of cost with what I believe is a lot less benefit than it's worth, but let's have that
You're talking
discussion.
about the side of the building facing the
Driveway,
correct, yes.
So like the north and south ends of them,
Yeah.
because you're driving by looking.
right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, one person could look at it and say, or like originally, we talked only about the face that faced the town road. I don't know if the rules have changed since the first building was put up.
Don't think so.
Because we never asked me to take the north side of the current building.
Might just be wording that we need to clarify with Mark. When he says
Okay.
visible, does he mean facing or does he mean like you just said?
Yeah.
Because I sit from my office and I can see a building on the other side of 1218 that's a huge white. And I can look at the grain bins from my office building and see a big building that has no, and all the other buildings out there don't have anything. I have, I think, by far the best looking building out there. So then you look at this and you go, well, how is this going to really change out there, right? I mean, pretty soon, everything to the south of me is going to be built out. There's going to be big trees and buildings there. So you're not going to have this
Big
quarter
trees,
mile
probably
drive
not.
to the side of that building anymore.
Well, that's
I
in our
mean-
design standards.
Yeah, and if I have to, I will. I mean, one option I have is to run gravel all the way out to the driveway and put half of the garage doors on this side. Because in theory, that satisfies that requirement. So I'd have half of my garage doors on this side of the building and half on the other. I don't want to do it that way. I think it'll look funny. I think,
Well, to me, any of the area in the perimeter would have to meet the design standards. So the stuff on the interior, not so much. In your inside area,
okay,
not so much. It's around this line and that line. And it would be here.
Yep.
And here. Okay,
You're talking the west side of the,
yeah, so this is north,
yeah,
so
Well,
it'd
those
be,
aren't, but those aren't public roads, remember, that.
it's a
only
private
public Road
driveway.
is North Star.
right, yeah. But so then we're worried about public.
That's what
Well,
Mark
let's
says
look
here,
at
that visible from public roads to be masonry, glass, or other decorative material approved by the plan commission.
Okay, so
But the question is,
You're just
when-
dealing with North Star Road because the other is a private drive.
but the question is, when he says visible, is he talking about like just facing the road, or is he talking about the ends that you see when you drive by?
get some clarification.
So I can get some I got a note to ask him
Okay.
about that.
The hillsides to the south of Falls Road that has been cut.
Yes, there is a stone knob that comes through that he cut through.
Is that gonna stay there, do you think? Because that hides that building that you're gonna put up.
Yes, it will, it's kind of, it helps. I think that's a better question for the Vineys, because that's on their property. That bedrock extends underneath and into that field.
You don't get to see the south side of this proposed building until you're really on it, and then you're looking at the east side really quick,
Yeah,
so.
and there'll be shrubs all along there. I mean, it's gonna be landscaped with the goal to soften it, but.
Right here, thanks, Mike.
Maybe we can get that clarified, because it wasn't part of the last building and nobody else has done it out there. So then I feel like we have to have this discussion, is this a undue burden on me?
well, part of the thing is too, that was we're trying to fine tune our design
Sure.
standards.
So,
It's unfortunately, we're not experts.
no,
And
Lucky
as
for you.
development happens, it's gonna look like what we would like. And that's what we're explaining today.
Mhm.
It's not to saying we wouldn't have asked the other people to do it. They just built before we got going.
okay.
Like the guy across the street, we would have asked a lot more if we had the chance.
And what's that?
Yeah.
The guy across the street.
You mean it's got the cattle?
Yeah,
Yes.
that building.
I can answer the question about the knob if you guys have want to answer on that.
This is Travis from Cleary Building Corp, because he's doing all of Paul's buildings, so he may have more information on that knob than I.
Along that road, I just
Yeah.
talked.
Yeah, so that knob on a site plan of Paul's and the stuff is roughly speaking 10 feet from the south lot line. It calls for a retaining wall. Once that development in there gets completed, there's going to be a retaining wall there to retain that knob back, and that knob will stay where it's at. So on the south end of the neighboring property to the south, I mean, they have the ability to cut it past 10 feet from the lot line, but they can't touch it within 10 feet unless there's a mutually agreed upon removing the entire berm, which I would highly doubt that Paul's gonna go put a retaining wall in to come out and remove it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably want to solve that before the retainer wall's put up.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Nothing we have to vote on.
No. No, this is just conceptual review.
Yep.
The thoughts out there and his to us. See you at another date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Don Vinnie petitioner, Vinnie Acres LLC, property owner, parcels 0711-331-800-7 and 0711-331-9502-8 North Star Road. Petition for comprehensive development plan review for a commercial subdivision tabled from February. Good evening.
You guys can see that it's changed since.
We're dealing with the south portion
Yeah,
only.
the north and the west part.
I'm sorry, what was that? I was making note.
The north and the west part, Houston's our buying. Cause it just lays, it made sense, for them.
I was worried about that hillside there.
They're gonna, that whole thing, this dry nut came from, Snyder in McFarland. He's an engineer for all of it. And they're actually doing, they're gonna do Houston's part too. And I think that whole hill is gonna be reshaped.
That's what I figured.
So it just made sense for us to sell it to them and let them do that side. And I'm sure they're planning on coming in here pretty soon anyhow, the way it sounded.
Probably, we're a different engineers handling Houston's just because of the conflict of interest, so. Here on behalf of Vines.
Future town road should be a court, I guess. From our engineer, so it should be called a court.
Court? What is?
You just got town road, which
Yeah.
is a typical term that everybody.
When you actually name it, it should be something court.
Cul-de-sac, whatever.
So whatever it is, you want it to be court on the end, is what you're saying.
That's what he's saying. And he was wondering if.
You guys got any ideas on that?
Mini court, mini court.
Right.
You gotta get creative, because we don't want to name anything else similar to anything.
County
Oh,
Court.
really?
County Court, Maryland?
Emergency services.
Okay.
So.
That was good.
Did you guys hear what he said here?
Then you just gotta come up with a really good name.
Yeah,
set
you gotta
aside.
get pretty unique these days.
Yeah.
A lot of road names already used.
I each read.
Good Norwegian name, nobody uses them. And you should maybe think about lots 6 and 7, rotating them so that they come out on the future court. Was Nick's thought.
How do you want to do it?
Just rotate them 90 degrees so both of, they're standing up rather than.
Going east-west, have them go north-south.
So that they would both have access to the court.
They'd line up with lot 1 and 2.
Our original thought was if we could enter between the two lots on North Star.
A common driveway.
Yeah.
Shared driveway.
I think that'd be fine, but you're already putting in the court. But I guess it couldn't be open to options on that.
Yeah.
I mean, originally, we just wanted lot 7 to have its own access on North Star. And I know Mark didn't say anything about that, but you know anything on that, Brian?
No, Chris didn't talk to me about Lot layout for modification.
I thought Chris couldn't be here tonight, Kason, but, I thought, he talked to Mark Roofers on it and did.
Oh, this comment was from Nick, our engineer.
Okay.
I don't know, is having two more lots onto the court gonna overload it? I mean, that means everything's coming in off of North Star on the court, so you got, potentially, what, seven lots. Yeah, 7 lots trying to, use that road.
We've changed the shape of those lots a little bit. They'd be long and skinny.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we left it like this.
Driveway solves that.
Right, I would agree with you, David, that, if you had a common driveway along for 6 and 7 on North Star, that would work and take some pressure off of the
That or
court.
you make lot 6 come out on the future road.
Well, they could have 2 driveways, couldn't they, on lot 6, if they had a back building and then.
Yeah.
They would, like Kim said, I think they'd get awful skinny if we ran them the
Yeah.
other way. And that's why we. Because we did eliminate one to make lot 4 and lot 3 with better access, visibility actually to 12 and 18.
Uh-huh.
And lot 5 was kind of goofy before, and then, like I say, if you can imagine that extra lot in there, it just seemed to clean it up a lot.
Yeah.
No, if we sell lot 5 to 7 and 6 people too. That's the way.
It's true.
Yeah.
What was that, David?
The buyer for 5 might want 7 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, that, you might get somebody to buy 3 lots. I don't know if that would happen, but,
True.
So that 75-foot line that's going down the waterway, so, but I guess the 75-foot line that's gonna be part of the ditch area, that couldn't be.
So wetland setback.
Wetland setback, okay,
you can't.
so you can't,
No impervious in the 75 feet, and then no grading within 30 feet of the delineated wetland.
okay. So what would you say, when you get 30 feet close to a building edge, building wall could be 30 feet close to that?
No, a building would have to be 75 feet away from the wetland, but it could be right up to the setback line.
And the setback line is 75 feet.
Correct.
So we have a building right to the back of this, okay.
Basically, I think what Brian's trying to say is you can grade in the 40 to 75 feet, but you can't build in that 75 feet.
No impervious, yeah. It can be used for stormwater management though, so like in the outlot area, we could, start to use some of our stormwater, just not within the 30, because you can't touch within 30 feet at all.
So Chris, what's the history of the water flow through there? You've probably seen it in the past. That's a huge culvert there.
Yeah, but it's never full.
I mean, has it ever gone up halfway on that culvert?
I don't think so.
It's like 4 foot culvert. I mean, no, it's not 4 foot. It's like 6 or 8 feet. It's huge.
You mean the one that goes underneath?
Under North Star.
On the North
The
Star?
one down,
Yeah,
down here.
Oh,
The one under North Star,
yeah.
is it more than 4 foot?
It looks,
Yeah.
from the road, it looks,
It's big. And that's what they said we had to put in there, but
There was something about that too. Is that right where it was put this time? I know the road was off last time around.
yeah, because we had to buy some additional land from it when we put
Yeah.
that, when we redid that culvert. And DOT has to approve the plat. Questions, comments, thoughts?
This is a wild one. Where the North Star makes that bend,
To the
toward-
south?
to the south, right where it says on your map right here, it says North Star Road. There's that open area, it's all canary grass and stuff. That's all state owned, right?
Yep.
Do they want to sell any of that so you can make lot one bigger? You probably can't build
Some
it.
parcels, I mean, we bought a parcel from the state. That one,
There's no water flow in there, is there?
no.
Yeah.
I would know, I mean,
Cause they'd have never, ever any use for that extra acreage.
the only thing I will say with that is the fence goes along 12 and 18, and then it comes down to where that bend is.
Yeah.
It does come down, so
They're just asserting their ownership.
I-
That's all they're doing. But
Might
what
know
ask-
where you're going
What
with
an
this.
opportunity to get rid of some excess land.
Yeah,
They'll never get it.
Yeah, it would make sense, yeah.
We'll see what they say.
I mean, who would you ask, Chris? You probably know on something like that.
Oh, DOT, real estate.
Right.
They're up on, off of 51 to the north of East Washington Avenue.
No, the driver's
Oh, up
license
over
thing is.
behind METC?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Madison College?
Where the driver's license exam thing is? Where
Pardon?
the driver's license thing, building is?
No, they
Opposite
moved
side of the
over
road.
across the way over on the east side of 51. Yeah, District 1 headquarters for DOT, Kinsman Boulevard is
Yeah.
our address.
Yeah.
Other, the road that's,
We could
Where they
probably
were.
find it again and just give them a call and see what they say. I mean, it would make sense to,
I just saw that
Yeah.
tonight.
I mean, it's probably
Make some money on it.
an acre of land in there. you know.
Probably. And you could add that to lot one.
Right, that was my point.
Yeah.
We can check into that. I never really thought about it, but
They'll never use it.
Put signs there, could put a sign there.
yeah, that's usually required.
Business park.
Maybe.
It's low.
Yeah, it's low.
Yeah.
It is kind of.
Yeah, tall post. Really tall.
I guess for me, you know, I trust Nick's advice to us, you know, pretty well, but I guess I would like to agree to disagree with his thing on lot 6 and lot 7. I would be more than happy with a shared driveway coming out on the North Star for that. And, you know,
Or even lot.
Just
lot
lot
6 doesn't
7.
have it, that one could go to the court driveway and then the other.
You know, if you're gonna have, I mean, if you wanna give lot 6 a second, you know, onto the court,
That's right.
I guess that's totally up to you, but, I guess having the shared driveway or the primary drive coming in off of North Star and,
Yeah, where they could go either way. is what you're saying.
Yeah, if you got semi trucks coming in, shared driveway, and they wanted to go all the way to the back to 5 and then come in, that's an option too. Who knows what's gonna be people, trip their trigger.
Yes. It's it, somebody may come in and buy 6, 7, and 5.
What's that wavy line indicating? Do you know?
Bearcat did the plat, see if a legend down here.
No, I didn't see one.
Is that along lot 6?
No access.
Which one here?
Where's the wavy line?
On lot 6?
Only,
Oh,
What that wavy line's supposed to
right
be.
here. I wonder if it's no access.
I know there's 42 feet along 12 and 18 you can't touch.
Yeah,
This line?
That fence.
down here, I'm not sure what that is.
This one you're talking about, this one?
Just a question,
Yeah.
I don't know what
I think
it's
so.
supposed to indicate.
Yeah, he doesn't have it on his legend.
No.
I'm just curious because it doesn't go across here and here, so I was
No.
wondering if it's indicating like no access, directly on the west side, obviously.
Yeah, from lot one, you can't get to it unless you buy
Yeah,
that from the
yeah,
state.
That's true.
This one, question for them, I guess.
It's not a fence there, no. Silk fence. Oh. Possibly. Why isn't there a whole?
Any other comments, questions?
What's the zoning, what are you guys hoping for zoning? Heavy commercial or general commercial? That's
General.
general on all the lots?
They could,
Good choice.
Not necessarily.
well, there was, yeah, I mean, it's possible. You had a buyer that came in and says, I really need heavy commercial, and it makes sense.
They can come back and ask us.
They can come back and ask if they want to do the proper screenings and that, but, you know.
Well, that was one of Mark's points.
Yeah.
At the end here.
Nobody are gonna know that till you have buyers. You know,
Yeah.
they're better off to just go general commercial and then they can rezone it. If they ended up with, like somebody got 3 lots, that's a big deal. And maybe-
No, Majid Allen wanted to see it go general, so, you know.
Yeah. Have you modified your petition, your rezone petition with them, because I see that's scheduled for
Yeah,
April.
Roger called,
Okay,
Barncott today, and they're pushing it back.
okay.
Anything else?
You know, unless we need to talk about the gentleman that wanted to do something on Highway Road back here.
So are you wanting to forward this concept to the town board now? Are you ready to move forward with that, or?
What do you want to do?
Yeah,
I think he wanted to come back and submit the preliminary plat next month.
okay, so then you'd have to have your concept approved to do that, and that's something that does go to the board.
Anyone wishing to make a motion on the concept?
I would move to approve.
Motion by Anders to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Troy to approve the concept commercial subdivision. Comprehensive development plan review for a commercial subdivision. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. April 7th. For the town board then.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Anders to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Troy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.